Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I don't know why I'm talking like that. What's going on? So hopefully this is the last build video for the WRX. I pretty much have everything done at this point. I've been working on this car off camera for the past couple of days and just trying to knock it out. I feel like the WRX is just dragging. I don't want to make videos on it right now and I just want it to be done like I said in the last video. But I'm hoping this should be the last video before we start it up for the first time and go drive it. There's some things that we need to do to get it ready to go drive. So let me kind of show you what I've knocked out so far. What's left, it's like a whole bunch of just small stuff that's left over that we need to knock out. But for the most part, the whole kit and caboodle of everything is pretty much done. So there are a couple parts that I'm still waiting on to show up for this thing, but for the most part, this thing's pretty much ready to go. I have to make this charge pipe up here, which we can do today. I pretty much have that pipe almost done. It's aluminum. If I can't weld it out of aluminum, I'll weld it out of steel. It's not a massive deal. Essentially, this pipe will sit up away from the fuel pressure regulator a little bit. It clears the oil cap, and then it'll go right up there. We need to get the blow-off valve flange welded on there, which we can do that as well. I went ahead and I blocked off all the coolant nipples that I'm not using anymore. We need to get an upper radiator hose for this thing. I need to get the lower radiator hose put on this. We need to get oil in it, coolant in it, which I can't do till tomorrow because I'm waiting on my STI oil cooler to show up, so we can do that. I did get the boost controller mounted up and hooked up to the wastegate. I got the extension harness wired up for the engine harness to be able to manage the boost controller. It was really the only spot that I could really find to put the boost controller that wasn't like cram-packed with everything else in here. We need to finish the vacuum system, which means the brake booster, the blow-off valve, the fuel pressure regulator, and a couple other small vacuum fittings that need to be done on this. We do need to align the car. Now with doing the STI drivetrain swap like we did do on this thing, the entire suspension was torn apart. Subframes were out of this car. Actually, no, we left subframes in this car. So we need to bleed the Brimbos. Matt and I bled the clutch yesterday. I've got the turbo permanently installed, downpipe permanently installed, oil feed done, oil drain done. Strut tower bars back in. So at this, oh, and all the fuel lines are done. So the entire fuel system's complete on this car. I've already checked it for leaks and everything is solid there. So at this point, like I said, it's really just the small stuff that we have to knock out on this thing. I'm very proud of the hat, even though I'm tired of working on it. We stripped everything out of this car. Drivetrain, axles, diff, driveline, engine, built the engine. I literally built this car from the ground up, and I'm personally very proud of it. I just want to be able to drive it at this point. So let's start out with some of the small stuff. I'm gonna get the OEM STI oil cooler lines installed off of the water pump going over the oil pump. I'm gonna get the lower radiator hose installed on this thing, and then at that point we'll jump back up here in the engine bay, start figuring out this charge pipe a little bit more. Once that's done, we can weld that up at the shop later today and just keep going all the small stuff. So let's do some of the undercar stuff. We'll jump back up here to some of the topside stuff. I think I should do the other one first, the radiator side first. Put these clamps on totally backwards. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Yes, yes, we are farther than we were before. Tanner, you lie. You lied to me, Tanner. Oh my god, dude, like how do I get you on there? Now all we need is the actual oil cooler. It shows up tomorrow. So to give you guys a little bit better of a view, off the water pump right here, you've got this line that comes off. It goes to a hard line, which bolts up to the oil pump right up here. And then that wraps around over here to where the oil cooler will be. So just getting that line in place, it sucks a lot of butt. So next thing I need to do is figure out the dump tube for the wastegate up there. So I've got a couple spare dump tubes I think I'm gonna try to cut up and see if I can't make work before ordering material, because I don't want to have to spend more money if I can avoid spending money. So it looks like it should be a fairly straight shot with a small bend in it. So let me play with a couple things that I have and try to figure this out. All right, I got the dump tube all made up. So it'll essentially go up like that, point at the ground like that. What's cool is I used all recycled material that I had just laying around, so I didn't have to spend any money on this. I just gotta go weld it, which we'll go to the shop later and do that. Next thing I want to try to figure out is this intercooler pipe right here. So I need to add a blow-off valve flange on this and a IAT sensor bung. And what I'm thinking is I've got this 45 that comes off right here, and it's a pretty damn close fit to right there. I need to make this pipe a hair longer, so I can just cut off that bead roll. It's no big deal, and just add pipe on there and bead roll the other end of it. And then we'll just add a small straight flange on that, and then essentially it should just flow up and around like so. So I've got some spare of this. This was a 90, so I'm gonna cut up that 90 real quick, cut the end off of this. My aluminum welding sucks, and I know it sucks. I'm gonna attempt to do this. If not, I have another pipe sitting around that's similar to this that we can use. So let me cut this guy up real quick just to get some straight pieces off of it, and then we'll try taping this up and seeing how well this will fit, and what we need to add, what we need to take away to try to figure it out. Right now we are sitting right about there like that. So I want to add probably about 2 inches. We're gonna add 1.5 inches to both sides of this. So let's go cut 1.5 inches off that other pipe and tape it up. See what happens. So after a little bit of fanoodling, this is what I came up with, and I think that works out pretty well. We just run this 90-degree reducer coupler off the throttle body to this pipe here. I have to weld, wherever there's tape, that's where I have to weld. So it'll just come out at an angle here and then just run straight down. The blow-off valve, there's plenty of room for it right there. The IAT sensor bung, I'll probably put like maybe on the bottom. We want it as close to the throttle body as possible. So I'm actually really happy with the way that the design comes out. That pipe is going to get painted that same textured black as all the other piping will, just because I'm a little OCD. I honestly think I would rather prefer to have all of this like shiny chrome piping in here, just because the intake manifold, the intake, the turbo, and all that other stuff, it's all kind of like chromey. It's all right. We'll paint it black just to match all the other piping, mainly because I don't want to go through it here and have to strip and polish all of that piping, because it would just take forever. Plus I ordered the ETS intercooler piping kit for this side just to make life easier, and that's all stainless steel. This side would be stainless steel, that side would be aluminum, and I think it would just look really weird if they were polished like that. So we'll just paint that pipe black after it's like fully welded up. We'll let it sit for a day or so, throw it back on the car, and it should be ready to go. So I'm gonna figure out where I want to put the blow-off valve flange on here. So I got this pipe pretty figured out. It got dark out so quick again. So we'll run to the shop once Melanie comes home. I'm gonna attempt to weld this. So the blow-off valve will sit right here. IAT bung's gonna be on the back side. We'll weld this up, bead roll the ends of it. While we're there, we'll also weld up our dump tube. And then after that, it's just waiting for, I gotta do the vacuum fittings for the bottom of the manifold, which I'm still waiting on a couple 6 ORBs to show up. But then after that, it's just wait for this ETS hot side kit and turn it on and see what happens. I don't know what that was. I just ate some tacos. I'm feeling pretty refreshed. We're gonna go ahead and weld up our dump tube first, because my steel, I feel way more confident with welding steel than I do aluminum right now. So we'll get the dump tube welded up, and then I'm gonna start figuring the aluminum charge pipe out. I've got some spare material in the car. If I can't figure it out, I'm gonna have someone else weld it for me, because like I can do it. The biggest thing in life is saying I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. So let's weld up this dump tube real quick, and let me practice on some scrap material for aluminum and see if I can't get that figured out. We have 240 now. We're 220. We should be able to figure this out. Woosah! Woosah, baby. All right. I've confirmed I still hate welding aluminum, okay? The dump tube, easy. It took me maybe 15 minutes, okay? Dump tube, not a problem. It's all done, it's all welded. Yeah, this charge pipe, this sucked. I did it, okay? I was scared to do it. I did it. The welding the pieces of piping together, I'm really not terrible at, I feel like. I feel like it's not bad. It's the flanges that f me up, all right? It is fully welded. I can see it from the inside and outside. This pipe is fully welded. It's done. I'm not super happy with the welds on the flanges. Like I said, we're gonna be painting that pipe anyway, so it's not a huge concern to me, but aluminum, man, I can't, it's a difficult metal to weld when you're learning. I have a feeling it's partly my welder too, because my welder does this pulsation where it's like, and it's like stupid loud when welding aluminum, and aluminum only. I played with settings, I played with frequency, I played with amperage, all that stuff, and for some reason I can't figure it out. I don't know, aluminum's an entirely different beast, but thank God, that is literally the last of what I had to fabricate and make for the WRX, for the turbo kit. That sucked. It's done though. So it's like 10 o'clock right now because that took me way longer than I wanted it to. So we'll install that stuff in the morning. Let me show you my pipes. They really don't look bad. Like, I feel like I'm getting okay at like making my own stuff. You know what I mean? Like the the dump tube, I feel like that came out like super well. I'm trying to like show, there's no way I'm gonna be able to get light down in there. I did back purge this properly, so it's all welded inside and out, which is kind of cool. So it'll go off of the dump tube like that, come down, and then just point at the ground like that. So just to get exhaust away from the car. This guy, we have our IAT bung right there. We've got our blow-off valve flange. Like some of the welds on the blow-off valve flange, I feel like we're all right, but I was having a super hard time on like the sides of the flange right there and right there, and I just had to pile material on. And it's not that I was burning through it, it's that I kept doing the dirty dip of my tungsten into aluminum, and then it would contaminate everything. Then I'd clean it, and then as soon as I'd go back to weld it again after cleaning everything and regrinding my tungsten, I would dip it into the aluminum again. Dude, it's so annoying. So we're gonna sand this pipe down tomorrow and paint it wrinkle black to match all the rest of the intercooler piping. So let's get out of here. I'm tired of playing with pipes. All right, you guys, so it's the next morning. I just went ahead and painted this pipe last night so that way it could dry overnight, so that way we weren't waiting for it today. So I got the blow-off valve on there, I got the IAT sensor on there, everything is good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and test fit this one more time, make sure it all fits. Once we verified this fits, I'm gonna toss the dump tube back in. Or dump back in, but I'm gonna toss the dump tube in. Then at that point, we're just waiting for UPS to come drop stuff off. And then the WRX is pretty much done. It's finally almost done. So here we go. Go in there, go in your home. You see, it's cool because yesterday, this wasn't anything more than just an idea to make this fit. And now it's an actual pot, and it fits. I feel like I need to make a way to support these pipes down here to make this pipe sit up where I want it to. That's a problem for later though, I'm not worried about that right now. We got enough to be able to put a clamp there, we got enough to be able to put a clamp there. I'm happy with that, man. For building my own intercooler pipe, it's pretty Gucci. Went to put that on, that's gonna take a second hand. I need to go under the car while I have somebody up here on top of the car so that way we can do the clamp. Matt is busy at the moment, so I'm just gonna hold off on that. I just called Subaru. We're gonna go snag an upper radiator hose and the clamps for this because I don't know where mine went. I think I gave it to someone else for their own car, so let's go swing down to Subaru, grab an upper radiator hose. So in an effort to not drag this out, I've already gone to Subaru, came back, UPS just dropped off our boxes. So we have our upper radiator hose in. Now inside of those two boxes right there, that bigger box is from ETS, that is going to be our hot side charge piping, and the smaller box, it's going to be our STI oil cooler. So that should pretty much wrap up the last what we need. I need to have Matt come help me put that dump tube on here in a little bit, but let's start off. Let's get these parts on the car, get this thing that much closer. Once that oil cooler's on, we can put coolant in this thing and oil in it. Thank God. Yes, yes, let's do it. Okay, so I kind of underestimated what the ETS piping kit came with for this half. I was able to make it work, so all that matters. So it comes with this pipe here, which comes off the turbo. I had to grab one of my own 90-degree fittings, and it fit just fine for how my turbo is. And then it also came with this pipe down here, but it didn't come with an intermittent pipe for the middle. So luckily, I have enough intercooler piping sitting around. I was able to make that pipe. I do need to go bead roll that at the shop later, which is no big deal. But hey, intercooler piping is done. Comes off the turbo, under the manifold, wraps down, goes down around, goes to our Grimspeed intercooler, comes out the Grimspeed intercooler, comes up, goes up here into the intake manifold. I need to find a way to support this pipe up a little bit so that way it sits how I want it to, but I'll figure that out later. I'm not too concerned about it right now. So intercooler piping, done. Next up, STI oil cooler is going to go on, and then we can start putting fluids in this car. I need to go buy oil. I'm just going to put a cheap oil in here for the initial startup because we have to do a cam break-in when we go to start this. So we have to let it idle, or not idle, but we have to hold it at like 3,000 RPM for 20 minutes, then change the oil immediately after that. So we can at least put coolant in it right now, and I'll go pick up some cheap oil later. So oil cooler, let's get you on there. Oil cooler is installed with filter on the WRX. So STI water pump, STI coolant crossover, STI oil cooler, OEM oil filter. Solid. I had to order the iWire extension. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. I had to order the iWire extension harness for this guy here. It's just not long enough anymore, so that kind of sucks. So ordered that today. Hopefully it'll be here in a couple days or a day. I did faster shipping on it to try to get it here ASAP, but let's get some coolant in this thing and make sure we ain't got no coolant leaks, because that would suck if we did. I can't catch a break at all. My radiator's leaking. Not a single coolant leak anywhere in the engine except for off of the radiator. I'm gonna get a Koyo ordered tonight. I'll try to quick ship it depending on how much shipping will cost me. Man, that sucks. It's always something small. It's always something, right? I really don't feel like taking a shower in coolant right now, so I'm not gonna drain the radiator. I'm just gonna let it drip into that coolant container down there. Man, that sucks. It was leaking off the radiator, and I've never touched this drain plug up on the, dude, it's like so hard to show you guys. There's that drain plug right there. I've never touched it. I went to cinch it up a little bit just because it was leaking, and I just went hand tight and it went snap right off of there, and well, now it's leaking. 10 out of 10 recommend Koyo radiators. That sucks, man. That sucks butt. I kicked a box because I'm so upset now. Man, we were right there. So I guess everything else is solid, dude. Everything else looks beautiful. So I guess I'll get a radiator ordered. I'll go pick up, actually have some oil, break-in oil here that I haven't used in forever. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just gonna throw some break-in oil in the WRX in for now. Make sure we have no oil leaks, and I'll just order one more of those. It's not like I'm starting it today anyways. Put some break-in oil in this thing. Let's break it in. Well, we can't break it in yet, but let's put some oil in it to get it ready to be broken in. At this point, there's not much else I can do until I get a new radiator in. Obviously, I'm not even gonna try to start the car with the radiator the way it is. I'm waiting on that front O2 sensor extension harness to be able to get that up there. And then aside from that, dude, this thing is done. It's ready to rip, it's ready to party, it's ready to take on Josh, even though Josh's Forester blew up. I guess we'll just go horsepower number versus horsepower number, and then this spring when the weather gets a little bit nicer. Josh, if you're down, let's just go to the drag strip, do it somewhere where it's a little bit safe, and you and I can just run times. I guarantee you, whether you're in a slower car than me or not, you'll still beat me. You have way more drag racing experience than I have. I've never even driven on a drag strip before, but I'm super, super happy with how all of this came out. Granted, this did take a long time to do. I've literally built this car from the ground up. Transmission, axles, like I said before, transmission, axles, everything was out of this car. I stripped this car down from a bare bones basic WRX to an STI swapped, rotated, built engine. I built the engine, I built the rotated setup, the entire kit, and I'm extremely happy with it, with the exception of like 2 pipes from ETS, but that's whatever. I need to run that pipe over to the shop tonight. I'll do that off camera, bead roll it, and get it all situated, but woo, all we need is a new radiator. We'll be good to go. I'm not even gonna try fixing it. Every time I try to weld fluid stuff like aluminum for liquids, I guess I should say, because air is technically a fluid, I can never get a good seal on it and it always leaks. So it's still dripping down there. I just have it all dripping into the funnel, back into a coolant container. So I'll get a Koyo one ordered tonight. Like I said, I'll see if I can't do quick shipping on it to get it here, but dude, that looks so good. I'm so happy with how all of this came out. But that's all I got for you guys on this one. Like I said, this was the last build video on the WRX. The next video on the WRX will be us starting it, hopefully driving it. I still have to do a couple small things, which I'll do off camera, like tighten up all the suspension components, align the car, and then in the next video, we'll swap the radiator, do that extension harness for the O2 sensor, and get this thing started. I'm excited to hear how it sounds with this rotated setup. I'll probably order a turbo guard so that way I can take that intake on and off as I wish. It does fit beautifully though with this charge piping in here, so extremely, extremely happy with how everything came out. Like, in my mind, perfection takes time. The guys over at Grimspeed are sending some stuff over for the hatch as well as for the 05 or the 04 STI. So as soon as the hatch is tuned, running, good to go as a solid daily driver again, the STI is going to be coming in. We're going to tear down the white 04 STI. I was on the fence if I should tear the motor apart on it. I am going to pull the motor and reseal it. It is leaking from the valve covers. We may swap head gaskets too. I have to inspect everything, but I haven't looked too much into the car car. I've just been kind of driving it every now and then. Well, it's been my daily driver while this has been in the works. So like I said, if you guys like the video, you know what to do. Go and hit that like button, turn it black, blue, green, yellow, purple, silver sign, whatever color it turns for you. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel and you want to be, I'll put it in one of these corners. No idea which one quite yet, but with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. So peace out, homies.